The topic of my presentation is the Spanish Civil War seen with children's eyes. In 2011, the 75th anniversary of the beginning of the Spanish Civil War was celebrated. At that time, many initiatives tried to promote the memory of the Civil War. This was not possible in earlier periods, because in the transition period, that means the time of the transition between the Franco dictatorship and the democratic regime, the history of the Spanish Civil War was not a topic treated by academics. There was a silent agreement between the parties involved not to touch a sore spot. Public Spanish organizations lately organized several exhibitions and congresses on the topic of the Spanish Civil War. An exhibition held in the Biblioteca Nacional de España, that is the Spanish Public Library, exhibited children's drawings on the Civil War. The aim of this exhibition was to rehabilitate the damaged image of the Spanish Second Republic without neglecting its weak points. Children's drawings are the product of industrial civilization. They are an object of educational and psychological research since more than 100 years ago. They have been used as a therapeutic method from the Spanish Civil War on. Children's drawings from the Spanish Civil War proceed from different sources. They proceed above all from the Spanish school colonies, where children were evacuated from the dangerous war zones. Spanish and international organizations exhibited these children's drawings in order to attract private and public funding for the Republic. Important collections of Spanish children's drawings are conserved in the USA. They were originally collected by the Quakers, an organization called the Spanish Child Welfare Association. The more than 1,100 drawings in the Spanish Public Library proceed from this source. Most of these drawings were made by children aged between 5 and 15 in the years 1937 and 1938 in Republican school colonies in southern Spain and in southern France. A major deficiency of the Second Spanish Republic was its inability to pacify the society. Its most outstanding achievement was the reform of educational, cultural and healthcare policy. The important aim of the policy was to harmonize the living conditions in urban and rural environments. Whereas technological progress had arrived to the cities, this was not the case in the urban areas where people still lived like in the Middle Ages. Different measures were taken in order to achieve this aim. One of these measures were the educational missions, that is, groups of young students who traveled to the rural areas in order to bring high culture to the local population. The most important objectives of these educational missions were, first, the promotion of general culture, second, the educational orientations of teachers in rural environments, and third, citizenship education. Another measure were school colonies. The Instituto Libre de Enseñanza, a liberal private institution for teaching, had founded the first school colonies in 1887 in order to provide aesthetical learning experiences to students in cities. The Second Spanish Republic extended the system of summer school colonies according to its concept of social policy. During the war, children were evacuated from the combat zones. At the end of 1937, the Republican administration registered more than 8,000 children in colonies on Republican territory and more than 15,000 children in colonies in foreign countries. Most Spanish school colonies followed the same collective model, whereas the foreign colonies were organized according to different models. The drawings are the result of a unique constellation. The Spanish Civil War was the first conflict in which modern arms were intentionally used against the civil population on a large scale, so that children became eyewitnesses of military attacks. Evacuated children started to reflect on the war experiences in their drawings. The drawings had two purposes. On the one hand, they were used as therapeutic measures, on the other hand, as propaganda instruments. The interpretation of many drawings according to the represented themes, can draw up the image of a collective experiences, which determines the life of a whole generation in the sense of Elias' historical sociological approach. The drawings are interpreted, above all, as historical documents which constitute an unconscious narration. The most traumatic experience of the children was the breakdown of the Lebenswelt in the war. The children's artworks reach us through time and make us feel their despair. Only a small percentage of the conserved drawings show scenes before the war. The representations of this kind of drawings are diverse. The historical value lies in the contrast to the drawings of the war experiences. They are the starting point of the narration. The largest number of drawings represent war experiences. Air raids appear very often. Children's experiences of destruction and death are reflected. Airplanes fascinated the children and were drawn with care. Exactly drawn scenes of destruction show the intrusion of war in daily life.
Some drawings of younger children require a second look. The small words of the youngest also illustrated the devastating effect of the war experience on the personality of the child.
Some drawings of older children show the international support for the Spanish Republic. A large number of drawings represent scenes of evacuation. Both representations of drawings have a certain propagandistic value.
Some drawings show the daily life of the children in the school colonies in a very positive light. A few jokes alone to detect feelings of homesickness and loneliness.
All children's drawings collected in the Republic had propagandistic purposes. Some drawings reflected the ideological conflict between the warring parties. The ideological indoctrination by Republican teachers made children produce works characterized by class hatred.
During the Spanish Civil War, the children's drawings collected on the Republican side had two purposes. They were used as therapeutic measures which should help the children to overcome the traumas produced by the war. At the same time, they were used as propaganda for the Republic. Today, these drawings can be interpreted as historical documents which allow to identify the experiences of a generation. The drawings offer a pictorial narration which permits to perceive the conflict with children's eyes. Nowadays, children often are war victims who represent their experiences in drawings. During the Spanish Civil War, the international public opinion considered that exposing children to modern arms was scandalous. Today's society are indifferent and have become accustomed to coexisting with injustice.